market strategy, which we see as being an overall enabler for digital innovation in Europe, including areas like fintech and blockchain, but not only. This is also for m-health and e-procurement and so on. Move hopefully forward. There we go. An international perspective, I won't belabor this, but we see we're not in a bad position in Europe, but we could do better. This is one of the reasons we want to make use of the entire digital single market, the power of the consumers in the 28 member states, and also of technologies like blockchain, where we're in a reasonably good situation compared to those like the cloud and its traditional platforms where we are less well placed. The digital single market aims to have better access for consumers and businesses, ending geo-blocking, working on copyright, parcel delivery, simplifying VAT. Quite a few of these goals have been achieved. You also are probably aware of the roaming, which was another aspect of it. Also, in an environment where digital networks and services can prosper, the telecoms market, media services, you'll expect something on platforms and intermediaries very soon on the 25th of April. So on the one hand, we have a little bit the industrial policy of supporting blockchain and fintech, and on the other hand, we're looking at some of the situations that are not quite to level playing field on business to business on platforms. Trust and security, cybersecurity, obviously very important, from the wallets and the cyber currencies, cyber markets, as well as traditional digital services. Maximizing the growth potential of the digital economy, data economy. This is an important set of issues. How do we utilize technologies of blockchain, keeping data off the chain, on the cloud, on the decentralized cloud, as a way to both increase data sovereignty, control over data, but also European business models while being true to our values. Interoperability and standardization, something else that I'm in charge of, and digitization of European industry, also our non-traditionally digital industry, cars, heavy machinery, and so on, making sure that their production processes and so on can make the most out of digital. We've taken stock of what's been achieved since 2015. The future agenda is ensuring a fair, open, and secure digital environment, managing the digital transformation and international dimension. Among other things, it identifies blockchain as a breakthrough technology that Europe wants to support. Unlocking the data economy. This is something that you'll also see in a set of communications and legislative instruments that will be adopted on the 25th of April. And this is following up also on free flow of non-personal data. Personal data will flow freely with the application of the General Data Protection Regulation on the 25th of May, but also addressing the non-personal data, machine-generated data, which is becoming more and more important. And this is something that links as well with the blockchain strategy. Boosting cybersecurity, that's too much is fit into this slide. Something that I would signal that's particularly interesting here is the European Cybersecurity Certification Framework. In the future, with the Internet of Things, we need to be able to make sure that when our instruments connect to other digital instruments, that they are safe, that you're not introducing a weak link. This is another area, a little bit about the futuristic part of our blockchain agenda, where that could be an aspect where certified devices are on the blockchain, and your device, if so programmed, would only connect to other certified devices. A little bit in the future still. Managing the digital transformation, something that we get again and again, is that we are missing digital skills in Europe, especially in areas like blockchain, where there is a shortage, also in cybersecurity. And this is going more in depth. I mean, of course, we want digital literacy for everyone, but in terms of our skill set, in terms of international competitiveness, this is not just getting people up to the level where they can use the internet and send emails, though, I mean, obviously we want everyone up at that level, where unfortunately we don't have everyone yet, but even further. And it's not just programming talent, but it's also putting together social sciences, economic, legal, thinking together with technological development. Now moving in specifically into more the subject of this conference, fintech and digital transformation. Of course, we see fintech as a possibility to meet new customers' expectations. The boundaries are blurring. We have ever more data-driven activities. Entry barriers are coming down. We have more agile and efficient development and delivery, but trust and security are essential. 7th of March, coming up very soon now, and something I've been working on the last couple days after our so-called inter-service consultation internally. We'll have the FinTech Action Plan being adopted, 7th of March, so mark it on your calendars if you find that interesting. We will be addressing further the innovative business models, transformative potential of innovative technologies in finance, not just blockchain, which I've mentioned, but also the cloud, artificial intelligence, big data analytics. RegTech is something that we're also taking very seriously as, again, a potential strength for Europe and a way to lower compliance costs for the financial sector businesses, but also to have more space for innovative startups. High level of attention will be paid to data and cybersecurity. The principles are technology neutrality. We're not going to have legislation on blockchain. We're not going to have legislation on big data or on AI. An application of proportionality and integrity principles. So more clarity and convergence across the EU, including areas like regulatory sandboxes. A little bit more on distributed ledger and blockchain inspired technologies. We say blockchain and we say DLT, but we're also including Hashgraph, Tangle, new things. We're not going to come up with different names for every single development in the technology. The idea is this type of technology is a chance for Europe. We want to support it. We have high political attention and support. The heads of state, our presidents and prime ministers, on the 19th of October last year, signaled artificial intelligence and blockchain as priority technologies for the European Commission to support. It's, I think, as everyone in this room knows, much more than a case of simply Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. Businesses are committing, and we have the statistic that 90% of large banks worldwide are in DLT projects. But this is also happening in energy, logistics, health, supply chains, intellectual property management, you name it. You have national initiatives in countries like Luxembourg, Belgium, the Netherlands, Spain, Slovenia, I can go on, Estonia. The EU is developing proactive actions. First of all, it was stated the Blockchain Observatory Forum. 1st of February, it was launched by MEP Van Weisseker and my commissioner, Maria Gabriel. Next week, hopefully if the very new website works the way it should, we will have a call for interest for experts and members of the advisory group. So if you consider yourself or want to be an expert or an advisor on blockchain, please apply. It's EU Blockchain is the website. If not, just send me an email and I'll send you there. We will have work streams, including looking at the area of finance. We'll be looking at smart contracts. We'll be looking at ICOs. We'll try to look also a little bit at areas like logistics and energy, but we're coming from the Digital Single Market Directorate, so we are humble. We don't need by any means to be leading all the policy areas, but we want to have a coherent approach of blockchain wherever it's applied. We also want to walk the talk, and we want to apply blockchain in some of our EU services. So this is something we're also working on for the next couple of years, that we would do potentially some innovation procurement for services offered by the EU to be utilizing blockchain. We're already financing projects and pilots at EU level. I think it's 83 million euro across the Commission right now. In the upcoming years, 348 million. We're working towards more legal certainty. I mentioned the Blockchain Observatory Forum, but also in our classic Commission side, ICOs. On Monday, we have a roundtable on cryptocurrencies being chaired by Vice President Dombrovskis and my Director General also participating, Rebecca Viola. Smart contracts, data policy compliance. How can we have, to try to quote more or less the European Data Protection Supervisor, a privacy compliant blockchain that is designed, that is developed with privacy by design. Investigating needs for an EU blockchain infrastructure for EU services. We have a study that we just published and are evaluating right now. Is there a need to have something with the 28 member states as nodes for regulatory reporting, VAT reporting, registering chemicals for REACH, etc. We're investigating this. Is it efficient? Is it useful? And thank you. I think I've kept my promise of not being too long. FinTech, here you have the information on the public consult. Within less than 2 weeks, you'll have a whole action plan to react to and tell us what you think about it. We have an open call for proposals. Those of you who are in research institutes or also private enterprises in FinTech and who want to participate with partners from 2 other member states, whichever member state you're from. This is open until the 17th of April, 2018. It's looking at regulatory innovation, regulatory sandboxes, how we as regulators can work closely with innovators. And there's also some information on DLT blockchain funding opportunities, and you can, of course, always contact me or other colleagues of mine for more information.
Sure. My name is Monica. Is it working? Yeah. My name is Monica Monaco. I sit in Brussels since 2003. I've been working for 10 years for Visa, a credit card company, as responsible for their office in Brussels, the regulatory office, so working with Commission, Parliament and Council. And I left in 2013 to create my own company, Trust You Affairs, which is a consultancy that does exactly what I was doing for Visa, but for different clients, i.e. working on regulatory affairs. And one of my first clients in 2013 was the Bitcoin Foundation. So they hired me in 2013 to do policy work for them in town. I did for 7 months. If you Google my name with the Bitcoin Foundation next, you will find the press releases they were putting out at their press conference when they hired me, saying we're hiring a payment expert. So after 7 months of that, the Bitcoin Foundation decided to stop doing regulatory work to concentrate on developing the technology. And I created a working group that is still in existence now, called the Blockchain and Virtual Currencies Working Group. We meet in Brussels every 2 months, 6 weeks, 2 months. And the members are now 18 companies from all around the world, especially.
I'm working within the FSMA, so the Financial Services Market Authority in Belgium, which is one of the 2 supervisors in Belgium with the National Bank of Belgium. I've been working there since 2011 as an economist within the Policy and International Relations Department. And since almost 2 years now, I'm in charge of the FinTech contact point that we have created, so that we are in contact with FinTech companies and we can get information from them and we can provide information to them. That's it.
Yes, you already heard from me, but I would just add, if it wasn't added already, then I'm also co-chair of the FinTech Task Force, and also started following these things in 2013 when I was a visiting fellow at the University of Oxford and associated the Political Economy of Financial Markets program and a member of the Virtual Currencies Working Group, so also going back a few years, not to the very beginning, but to some interesting times that have since developed in this space.
Okay, thank you. Let's start immediately with the first question. Today we talk more about cryptocurrencies, but also about crypto utilities, crypto commodities, voting tokens, etc. How do you see that in your daily life when you think about regulation or when you advise clients? How easy is it to make a distinction? Is the regulatory bodies taking any distinction in these things, and how do you see that playing out in the future? Who wants to start?
I can start since I'm not advising clients, so then we can have this stay a little bit of a different perspective. I mean, from our side, I mean, we very much are evaluating with national experts and now with the Blockchain Observatory and Forum, like the French with the unicorn analysis and the public consultation. We agree that maybe not even the majority of these are securities in Europe. If they're securities, the ESMA statement applies for us, and we don't go further. That's for monitoring and implementation of the securities laws. The ones that are not securities, then you get into a very intellectual discussion, which I'm enjoying and we're deeply involved with, not just now, but for some time now. I mean, these can be seen as tokens, like also a token to wash your car or to get golf balls or something else. with the possible or a software license, which is also an example that we use, with the possible difference that usually these kinds of tokens are not traded in secondary markets and with widely changing values and often with very, very high values and people hoarding them. We are taking an approach which is very pro-innovation. We see a lot of this activity happening in Europe, the activity that is not fraudulent. I mean, we'd be glad to try to support it in the future, ideally through, at least at the beginning, a self-regulatory space which would be pushing transparency, clearly identified proposers of the ICO or token. Well, basically a prospectus, but was something that I like to very much underline myself. Also, a lot of information on the technology risks, because that is something that is different in this space from offering soap or something, that the strength of the technologies and the risk and benefit of that should be more clearly stated than perhaps in a traditional prospectus.
Well, I think that we can make a distinction between cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and so on, and then crypto assets, which are most of the time based on cryptocurrencies.